All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym. The QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Every month we come up with new exercises and we break it down for you into 4 different sections. Today we're working in the March Year 1 warm-ups section. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what is going on in Craig's world this month. He is our fictitious business owner. Further down is an interactive pre-assessment quiz. Below that are all of the exercises in this section. And at the bottom here, once you have gone through all of the exercises, we have an optional area here where we have some sample posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everybody what you have learned so far. So let's go ahead and get started with today's exercise where we finish up the warm-up section and practice processing Craig's bank feeds for the month. So go ahead and click on that link to get the exercise pulled up for you. I have it over here on the right-hand side, so let's read through our scenario. After you have input all the sales and expense transactions, it's time to process bank feeds. This means comparing what went into and out of the bank and making sure there is a correct record of it in QBO. Now, you will need to be in the same session of the sample company that you did the previous exercise in. If you have not completed that exercise yet, go ahead and click on the link on the top right corner of your screen. That'll take you to that exercise, complete that one, and then come back to this one. Now let's go ahead and get started with the exercise. I have the sample company pulled up here. This is the dashboard. So from the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over transactions and then select bank transactions. So over here on the left side is the transactions. Hover over that and then select bank transactions. Alternatively, you could have clicked on bank transactions right here. It is a bookmark, but of course, if you don't have that as a bookmark in your client's books, you would do it that way. Hover over transactions and then select bank transactions. Now you may get a pop-up here if this is your first time in the area. This is just Intuit showing you an overview of what this area is all about. Go ahead and just click out of the pop-up. Now, in a real life scenario, you would want to double check to make sure that what QBO thinks is a match is actually matched correctly to QBO transactions. Since you are the one that entered the transactions in the first place, you can usually do this fairly easily with a quick glance. For this exercise, we're just going to assume that the matches are correct. So in the All Transactions dropdown, we want to select Suggested Matches. That is right here, so click on that to have this expanded, and go ahead and select Suggested Matches. And you will see all the ones that are potential matches. It'll show as either one match found, but there are also a couple of transactions that have multiple matches. So we're going to leave those to investigate at another time. Let's go ahead and click on the checkbox at the top of the column to select all transactions. That is this box right here. Go ahead and click on that. And when you do, all of them have been selected. But we want to uncheck the ones with 2 matches found. They will be investigated at a later time. So uncheck the box next to Pam Sites, which is this one right here. And again, you can tell that it has 2 matches found because of what it says right here versus the green box that says 1 match found. Let's uncheck the box next to Books by Bessie, which is right here. And then we're going to uncheck the box next to Squeaky Clean Car Wash. That is this one right here. And now in the black bar, we're going to, at the top of that, the black bar at the top, we're going to click Accept. And that means that we are going to accept matches for all the ones that are showing as a potential match. So go ahead and click on Accept. And when you do, you will see these that are remaining, the ones that have only 2 matches found. So we're finished working with the matched transactions, so we'll need to turn off that suggested matches filter. To do that, you just need to click on the X next to it. So click on that X right there. And now you will see the 2 potential matches found, as well as other ones that are uncategorized that QBO could not find a potential match for. Now, notice that there are two transactions that the bank identified as a rental. The one is for $200 received, and the other is for $1,200 spent. Money in versus money out. There is a third one for $800 that we're not going to be addressing in this particular exercise. So here's the three. You can see the $200 that was received, and then the $1,200 one that was spent. This is likely the equipment rental that Craig was talking about, but what happened here? First, the description from the bank is a rental, but you know them as Ellis Equipment Rental. This is not uncommon as they could have changed names or merged with another company and they just never changed it on their payment processor. In this case, it's obviously the same company, so it's not a big deal. But in others, you might want to confirm with Craig that it's the same. But what about the $200? Let's go ahead and investigate it a little bit more. Let's click on the 200A rental transaction. Click anywhere on that line to expand it. And you will notice that the bank detail says A1 rental backhoe deposit refund right here. It seems that Craig wasn't entirely accurate when he said he paid $1,000 for the rental. He actually paid $1,200, 200 of which was a deposit that he received back when he returned it. So you'll need to make some adjustments to account for this. One way to handle it would be to change the amount of the expense you previously entered to $1,200. Then use the same category, which was equipment rental, for the amount you received back. While this may be acceptable in some cases, it isn't perfectly precise because it doesn't tell the whole story of what happened. Remember, when you're in QBO, you want to try to match as much as possible what happened in real life and having it on the books recorded that way. So let's take a look at a more correct way to record it. First, you will need to create an account called vendor deposits. Because it is technically still Craig's money, even though it's in someone else's hands, it would be an asset account. So we can create it right from the bank feed. To do that, we're going to click on the down arrow on the account field and click on plus add new account. So click on the down arrow right here. You may need to scroll all the way up to the top until you find plus add new account. Go ahead and select that. And this new account form is going to appear for us. So let's go ahead and fill it out. In the account type field, we're going to select other current assets. So click that down arrow and you will see other current assets right there. In the detail type field, let's once again select other current assets. So click the down arrow. You may need to scroll a little bit until you find other current assets. Select it once you find it. And then let's adjust the name so that it is more accurate for what this is for. In the name field, we're going to type vendor deposits. So click into that name field, delete what is currently there, and type in vendor deposits. Everything else is fine. We don't need to do anything here. So let's go ahead and click on the green Save and Close button. And now in the vendor customer field, we're going to select Ellis Equipment Rental. So click that down arrow here. You can scroll down a little bit or type their name. The customers are all listed first, so vendors are listed after that. Since Ellis Equipment Rental is a vendor, you need to scroll down a bit more than I had anticipated there. I forgot that the customers will go first and then the vendors. So keep scrolling until you find Ellis Equipment Rental, or you can type it in that field. Once you find them, go ahead and select it. So you have the vendor right there, you have that new account that we just created. And now in the memo field, let's go ahead and type backhoe deposit refund. You could also just copy over this and paste in the memo field. Either way is fine, as long as it makes its way into the memo field. So backhoe deposit refund. And then we're going to go ahead and click on the green add button. And now that one has been categorized. Note that because you assigned vendor deposits to one A rental transaction, QBO assumes that you want to add it to all of them. We don't, but the transactions won't match the expense you already entered either because the amount isn't correct. So let's go ahead and fix that. Here you can see it has tried to categorize it as vendor deposits there. But let's go ahead and fix that expense from before. So from the left navigation bar, we're going to hover over expenses and then select expenses. That's over here about halfway down, hover over it and then select expenses. And the expense that we entered in the previous exercise should be the first one on the list. If you get any pop-ups, just go ahead and close out of them. Note that if you did not do the previous exercise in the same session of the sample company, you should do that now. Once again, I will put the link on the top right corner of your screen to get back to that previous exercise if you have not completed that one yet. So let's go ahead and edit the expense on the line for the transaction. We're going to click on View Edit. So it's this first one right here. I have to scroll over a little bit. It is in the action column, so go ahead and click on View Edit. On the second line in the category field, we want to select vendor deposits. So click into it and you can either scroll or you can start typing in vendor to have vendor deposits pull up for you. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it. In the description field, let's type rental deposit. So click into that, type rental deposit. And then in the amount field, we're going to type $200. So click into that, type 200. And now we are showing that the vendor deposit, that $200 and the $1,000, that was the total for it after he got back that 200 is now showing here. If you click out of it, you will see that QBO has now made the update for $1,200. So let's go ahead and save and close this. Click on the green save and close button on the bottom right corner. And that expense is now showing as $1,200. So let's go back to the banking center and match the transaction. Once again, from that left navigation bar, we're going to hover over transactions and then select bank transactions. So go ahead and do that now. And when we scroll down, you will notice that the first A rental transaction is now matching. So you'll have to investigate the other one at another time. But for this $1,200 A rental line, we're going to click on match. So click on that blue match link right there. And now it is showing as matched. And that is how you would process the bank fee transactions. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just click on the link below in the description. We have finished the warm-up section, and so we move on to the cardio section with our next exercise where we practice sending statements. And I will see you in the next